Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world's famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
We are, at the time of this recording, less than 24 hours away from Black Myth Wukong coming out, and I am very excited for that game. So life is great. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm doing pretty well. I just got my hands on Madden over the weekend, and that's been fun times. I can at least simulate the Raiders winning a Super Bowl if I can't see it in real life, so at least there's a plus there. Also with us, ladies and gentlemen, Flesh Wound producer Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Way to stay positive, Ozzy.
Listen, if my bar is low, and then they come out gangbusters like in 2016, holy cow, that was a fun year, right? So, anyhow,
How'd the year end?
12 in 2016.
Yeah.
When I was talking about setting the bar low, and then when 12-4, they went 12-4, and Derek Carr broke his ankle, and then it was rookie Connor Cook that was playing in the first round of the playoffs against the Texans, in which they lost.
Well, now you got Gardner Minshew. That's
Minshew mania. Hey, you know what? If this guy can put up 40 fantasy points just because of he utilizes his surrounding cast, that's more than Derek Carr would put up. So at least it would be exciting to watch.
That's fair.
It'll be like this instead of just like this, you know. So anyhow, today we do have the pleasure of reviewing and discussing the 2004 film Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, released specifically on July 30th of 2004. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
I do.
Come on, dude. Just take one hit. Don't you want to be cool? Hey, man, what are you doing? I'm so high! No!
Just say no.
I love that shit.
Harold never got too far with the ladies.
The only girls who are interested in me are girls I have no interest in.
Kumar never got much respect.
I will not tolerate this business from you any longer.
Dad, come on.
Daddy is not coming on anything.
But tonight,
In the next couple of hours, I expect both of us to be blitzed out of our skulls.
they're going on a trip.
I want the perfect food.
Are you hungry? Head over to White Castle. It's what you crave.
They'll never remember.
I forgot my cell phone.
You want to run back and get it?
No, we've gone too far.
This summer,
Just thinking about those tender little White Castle burgers makes me want to burn this mother down. Come on, Boogie, let's burn this mother down! Let's burn it!
they're going to discover what they're made of,
So, are you boys gonna date me now or what?
what they're up against,
Thank you, come again.
and who they're dealing with.
Are you Neil Patrick Harris?
Yep. We've just been driving around looking for White Castle.
Forget White Castle, let's go get some strippers.
Neil, you don't understand. We've been craving burgers all night.
I've been craving burgers too. Fur burgers.
New Line Cinema presents That Asian Guy from American Pie.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm trimming my pubes. Hey. Makes your Johnson look totally bigger.
And That Indian Guy from Van Wilder.
Thank God I found you. We have an emergency.
You happen to know how to get to the White Castle?
Yeah.
But why?
From that white guy who directed
Dude, where's my car?
Where's his car, dude?
comes the feel-good movie of the year.
Let's roll here. How about a foursome? Who wants to first reach around?
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
And that was the trailer for Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, rated R, with a runtime of 88 minutes, released on July 30th, 2004, directed by Danny Leiner, written by John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg. Initial thoughts on this? This was 2004. I was just about 20 years old when this movie came out.
20 years ago.
Yeah. It's weird to watch this because there were some CGI moments where my girlfriend's like, that looks so fake. I was like, this was 20 years ago. And
Right.
It was a comedy. Like, it's not going to have a big budget. But having said that, I remember first seeing this in the theater. What made me feel, I guess, kind of feel nostalgic about it is that it had a vibe of an 80s buddy movie, right? Of like this. So, but what was unique about it, and when I first watched this, I thought this and I thought it was kind of cool. And watching it again, I reemphasized the thought is you have, as mentioned by the trailer, like the Asian guy from American Pie, the Indian guy from Van
Can't say
Wilder.
that 20 years later.
You can't say that now, John Cho and Kal Penn. But I think what's so cool about this movie is that you finally had main characters that were minorities that didn't really play into the stereotype. I mean, maybe in some other aspects, like the people they associate with, sure, but the people you were focused on, it seemed more like first generation Americans in this country, which is what I related to because that's what I am. So, like, I'll mention this later, but there's a particular scene where he's talking to his father, and there's that just dichotomy. Just, it sounds so familiar. I mean, I'm not saying that my parents were strict or anything like that, but just in the sense of, there's a not a generation gap, but it's, you have
Culture gap.
a culture gap, you could say. You have the first generation learning how things are done, right? And then the parent, not quite, And unfortunately, what you see in movies from the past, the stereotypes that are played by minority characters, just follow that stereotype. There was never at that time any representation of a minority character that's an American. It always had to be they were from here or whatever and would have a thick accent or whatnot. A lot of jokes in this movie would not fly today. It was kind of like one of those the last vestiges of that style comedy that would not be favorable seen today.
The fact that they played that version of the Black Eyed Peas song in the trailer,
Right?
Like in the movie, I was like, okay, it makes sense. But they just now in the trailer, and it wasn't a red.
That was the Red Band trailer, obviously, because you saw some bare buttocks. Yeah.
I gotta blur him.
Greg, any initial thoughts?
So yeah, originally, I think the first time I watched this, I was into the culture, if you will, of what drove this film, and so it was always fun. And you did have those moments. Like I remember having that mindset that they had when they left the house, and in the trailer they were like, we've gone too far. Like I remember that feeling. Like that was definitely so. To go on this kind of adventure was fun, and definitely connected. And so revisiting this, I was excited to see, will this hold up? I mean, obviously the some of the jokes would, as you mentioned, would not be okay. The amount of gay jokes, I think, is why we've had so much of a rebound. Like I think this movie alone, stopped a lot of that because there was so much. But yeah.
Okay, though, Doogie's in there. We're good.
Right.
Well, and Kal Penn.
Kal
Penn also came out, so.
Right. And I do appreciate that they still made reference to some of the Van Wilder moments with him and Ryan Reynolds in this. So, but yeah, I'm glad we revisited it. I've always enjoyed this flick. So, even with the jokes, I don't care.
Todd.
I totally lost what I was gonna say about it. But I remember. Like the only difference between like the drive of this is, like you mentioned, it was like throwback to the 80s stuff. I mean, it feels like the same style as an 80s sex comedy, minus the guys are going to get their food instead of get the women. It's like the same, like but it has that feel. Just they have a different goal than most of them back then, but it's the same style of comedy, and that's why I feel like it felt like a throwback. So the first time I saw it, I enjoyed this film. So.
Well, yeah, it had that same kind of formula as stuff from back then, but I think making the the point of the film being about food versus sex made it more
Yeah.
attractive for a studio to put out in theaters in 2004
Yeah.
because things were already evolving from the 80s. As we
Right.
know, Airplane was rated PG. So
As it should be.
so some favorite moments. I kind of feel cheap here, but to be completely honest, when this happened, I could not stop laughing. I remember what happened in the theater, and I remember losing it. And just as I saw it here, I lost it. And it happened in the trailer is when he says, "Dad, come on." And he says, "Daddy's not coming on anything." Like that. But it was not only that, it was the reaction. Like, so it wasn't just like, oh, look at him say something funny. It was, you're from the perspective of his son who probably heard this his entire life.
Right.
Which is something else I can relate to. My parents speaking broken English every now and then. They would say something funny and we would try not to laugh. So that was something that really hit me really hard. And I didn't want to just steal the line from the movie just for the line, but it was not only a line with the reaction to the line that really put it over the top for me.
For sure. There's so to kind of peel back the curtain on some of this, we had planned to do this movie about a month ago or so. And at that point, I remember, so I'd watched it then, and I remember having a favorite moment. And then I watched it this time, and it was definitely a different favorite moment. I think that's one of the beauties of this film. Like, depending on where you're at, what you're doing, you might notice something or feel something that so many moments can stand out. And in this time around, though, I had such a great laugh at the scene where Kumar goes to take a piss behind a bush, and this other guy joins. And it's so random. And what got me was not only the weirdness of the scene, but the fact that this weirdo coming to take a piss next to him is wearing a suit on top of that. Like, I don't know why, but that like just was the cherry on top of the scene. So yeah, that one for me got me good this time.
And then when
What
they
else?
leave,
Oh,
there's
sorry.
no other cars. So where'd he come from?
Right.
Just some serial killer in the woods.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, it's played by Jamie Kennedy, who has like such a specific look that when he's dressed in that way and has his hair the way he does, it kind of wouldn't work. There's a very small handful of people that it could have worked for, but this specifically just being a quick cameo, yeah, absolutely.
And there was no drive, like there was no like later purpose to that. Like it's just even better.
He visited set one day. You want to come stand by while he pisses?
Right. Todd?
Oh, man, there's a few on this one, but I gotta go what made me laugh the most this time. How do I say this in 20 minutes? It was the montage of the weed bag when he finds the bag. And at the end, we'll just say he's in a very unhealthy relationship. That part, I was pretty much, that had me laughing.
Seeing that, I recall specifically in the theater when people first saw that, the montage happening, and people were laughing along, but the swerve was seeing what you're speaking to specifically, Todd, and there were some people who were laughing even harder, and there was people who just got a little bit quiet.
Right.
But that kind of encapsulates what this movie gives you is it's something completely unexpected. These are just guys going out to get some cheeseburgers, and this is what happens. But while it's outlandish, it's not outlandish enough that it loses its story. I mean, the way it's constructed is that they could do a whole bunch of random things, but still stay focused. No, we need to get food. We need to get food. So, and the reason I bring that up is you might have some people who completely dislike stupid comedies like an Airplane or a Spaceballs because it's just jokes and the story is very loose or weak, right? This is something that, I mean, this is about hunger, something that everybody can relate to, right? These guys are hungry. They're craving something specific. That is somebody every single person can relate to. So I think with that kind of this kind of story, it can attract some people who would not be normally attracted to specific comedies. If they might be easily offended, definitely not for them. However, if you have a friend that, has not seen this movie and they have that unique sense of humor, definitely got to give it a shot. So it's a 5 out of 5 from me.
Yeah, piggybacking on top of that, like it doesn't just wrap up and like keeps focus on the main story. Even all of the subplots outside of the random peeing behind a bush have some sort of like wrapping up of everything. You've got the bullies, you've got Neil Patrick Harris, you've got the girl that was obsessed with Harold at first, you've got the police officer.
Right.
You've got
I meant the other girl, right?
Yeah, you've got the main love interest, so like, and even Kumar, trying to become serious about things. So even with the subplots, it wraps things up very nicely. So yeah, this movie's 5 out of 5, hands down. Funny, good story. Yeah, it's just a good time all around.
Count me in on that too. I'm also a 5 out of 5. This one's never disappoints. It's always a good time. I look forward to revisiting the sequels because I don't really have good memory on them. So
wait, were there multiple sequels? I knew there was a sequel.
There's 3. There's the Guantanamo Bay and the Christmas one.
Oh, got it.
I don't even know if I saw the Christmas one.
That one I remember. It's in 3D, so I will watch it in 3D.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a 5 out of 5 from all of us. At this time, we are recording on August 18th. At this time, is not currently available to stream on any major platforms. However, is still available to rent or purchase via your favorite digital content provider. And before we head out for the evening, there's a kind of returning moment to Ozzy's TV show. See, there's 2 major things that happened to me. I'm going to spread this out over the next 2 episodes, and we're going to start with part 1. They're not related, but still, neither Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, but they're still in the same franchise. All right, so it was my 1-year anniversary with my fantastic girlfriend this past Monday night on August 12th, right? I was hosting trivia at the Rush Barn Grill, as I do every Monday night at 6:30 in Lake Forest, and we didn't get finished. I didn't get finished till about 8:55. And she wanted to celebrate our anniversary the night of. We found a restaurant that was open till 10. She made a reservation for 9:15. She called. This was about a week beforehand. She calls the restaurant. This restaurant was the Bungalow in Corona del Mar in California. She calls. When she makes the reservation, she says, "Hey, I know you guys close at 10, but we have a reservation for 9:15. Is this okay?" And the manager that she speaks to at the time says, if we don't have anybody, we'll close the kitchen early, but if you have a reservation, the kitchen will stay open. Fantastic. That's great. Fast forward to Monday the 12th, she gets a call from a different manager and says, "Hey, so you guys have a reservation at 9:15. You guys know the kitchen closes at 9, right?" And she explained that situation that happened the week prior. And he says, "Yeah, well, if you guys can try to get here early, I'd really appreciate it." Like, okay, cool. And we're kind of at the control of what this guy's doing because they're the only place that's nicer that's open late. And hosting trivia, this is kind of what we got. So fast forward to the end of trivia, it's 8:55. We put in the GPS to this restaurant. It says 9:21. Our reservation was for 9:15. We call the manager on duty, whose name was Kevin, and we tell him, "Hey, we just got done. Our GPS says 9:21. And he cuts us off before we even say anything else. He says, "Yeah, I'm not keeping it open that late." And he says, "Well, actually, we were hoping we could just put in our orders. You could have the kitchen make it. You close the kitchen as you would, and we'll eat the food when we get there." "Yeah, okay, I can do that. What do you guys want?" "Well, this is where you come in. What do you recommend?" "We have this, and we have a filet mignon burger that'll be the best burger you ever have." "Great, I'll have that." "How's your beef dip sandwich?" "It's great. Fantastic. I'll have that." Put in the order. We're on our way. Traffic sets in, so it's 9:23. 9:22 hits. This restaurant is an eye shot of us. And we get a call from Kevin that says, "Yeah, I got everybody just sitting around here, so I'm just going to close up early." we're in the earshot or eye shot of Corona Del Mar. And if you're not familiar with the area, this is deep south in Orange County where nothing else is open that late. So I'd wish he'd told us to go piss up a rope beforehand so we could have had some more options instead of driving out there. So I wanted to give the appropriate thanks to Kevin, which is completely sarcastic and no thanks at all. And I hope he kisses my ass. That's all. So, of course, I am hosting trivia 3 nights out of the week where I am not nearly as aggressive as I was towards Kevin just now. I am hosting every Monday, as mentioned, at the Lake Forest Rush Bar and Grill at 6:30, every Tuesday at the Brewery in Placentia at 7 o'clock, and every Wednesday at Griffin's Grill at 7:30 in Los Alamitos. Do you guys have anything you'd like to? You
That's
guys want
it,
to go to
Ozzy.
the bungalow in Corona Del Mar and put it in order so Kevin can just tell you to go, pound sand, and then he could eat the food you ordered?
No,
And just
no.
pay
What
me on
I'm
a
gonna
canceled
do though,
reservation? Yeah?
I assure you, Ozzy, for you, the next time I go down to Southern California, I'm gonna go to Pepe's Fine Mexican Food, they serve a burrito that's the size of a
Size of your
small
arm.
baby,
Okay, right.
and I'm going to eat that and devour it and put extra hot sauce and cheese on it. And I'm gonna go to the bungalow and I'm gonna take the biggest deuce in their toilet
Oh my
just for
gosh.
you, sir.
We'll call Caesar up too. We'll make it a whole thing. We'll kill the plumbing.
Just it. Yeah. And then if it'd be like customers or for if the restrooms are for customers only, okay, I want a soda.
No, I'll say I'll be a customer. Can I put in a reservation for 9:15?
Well, Kevin, if you're good for anything, at least you provided a laugh on this episode. Now, do you guys have anything else you'd like to say before we head out for the evening?
Nope, no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now next week is a very special episode. We do have an episode of Flesh Wound Fist returning where we will be reviewing the fantastic and great Raiders of the Lost Ark. Can't wait to talk about it. And as a special bonus, we'll get a part 2 of the Aussie TV show segment, which is so much fun. All right, so if we don't have anything else, world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, and I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week on that episode of Flesh Wound Fist.